Don't get me wrong, although Talking Tom and Friends is a well-known classic mobile game, it is nowhere near the best, as there is a lot of classics around here. Obviously, we have the four in the Mount Rushmore of mobile games. We have Angry Birds, which has a buttload of games in its franchise and even 2 movies to back it up. We also have Subway Surfers, pretty much a timeless classic at this point. There's also Plants vs. Zombies, which has a lengthy franchise with the classic games and even some spin-offs. And the one game that we'll focus on today is Clash of Clans. The whole franchise was probably the most successful out of the 4. It was a long-lasting franchise with 2 very successful games, a competitive side with its own esports, and what we're going to be talking about today is a cartoon on YouTube called Clash-A-Rama. The whole franchise pretty much kickstarted the gaming company in general, with other games like Clash Royale, Heyday, Boom Beach, Brawl Stars, and Squad Busters becoming quite successful on their own way. The game itself has gone through a lot throughout the years, and it's still quite decent. It's still doing decent, despite the fact that Royale has fallen off a bit and Brawl is currently overtaking both. But even then, it's not hard to be a kid who grew up in the early to mid 2010s and not know about either of the Clash games. But I'm pretty sure most people don't know about Clash-A-Rama itself, though. This is what I'm going to talk about today, actually.
Whoa, this just got weird.
Clash-A-Rama started as shorts being more satirical about the game's universe. Starting in December 2014, these first shorts ran for 2 years before the shorts became an actual series. The first episode that was released in an episodic format was on December 8th, 2016, and the first season ran for 10 11-minute episodes. The series and shorts were both animated by Tolerable Entertainment, and for what they have to work with the animation I think is solid. With the art style being more comic-like, I think it's probably for the better because the Clash universe doesn't have much to work with their setting and characters. There is only much you can do with barbs, archers, goblins, skeletons, and many of the other characters that themselves don't really have any personality. So they don't have to worry much on making unique designs for main characters. Instead, they can make designs for each prototype and work from there. That being understood, you could tell that the characters are not the main focus. What actually is more the main focus here is the different ways they utilize every single character and put them in specific stories. And if you want an example, the first episode of the show is pretty much starting with a giant overcoming his fear of self-doubt by participating in a boxing match with a badass level 10 cannon. While in the meantime, a dragon has to lay off breathing fire for a week because he caught like a cold.
I know what you did, and you know what you did.
The episode afterwards starts off with a goblin school where villagers try to reform goblins to not be like the typical goblins you'd assume.
Yeah, well, I see someone who stole some flags.
Meanwhile, 2 archers single-handedly take down their own village as they try to become competitive themselves. And if that ain't enticing enough, we also have a story of 2 barbarians who tried their very best to be known for something, known as legends. But at the end of the day, they do the most basic stuff and still get rewarded for it.
Our great-grandchildren will speak of this as another heroic adventure.
If you really want to know the true potential of all this, we have the best episode of the show, where it starts off with its own spin of Ocean's 11, but with goblins stealing elixir. Meanwhile, the village itself is having their own election for town hall leader, and at the same time, the episode in the middle has a couple of barbarians doing a choir so they could attack the arena. And no, these are not made up. These are actual episodes that you could watch for yourself. And if you want to, you could easily go watch it. It's on the YouTube channel. The writing itself is mostly more focused on the comedy, than anything. Definitely more than the story. Not that it's a bad thing really, but it is going to be hard to really make it work with one component that carry your entire show.
So long, losers! Shoo-wee!
The good thing though is since its original format was shorts, you don't really have to rely on a very constructed story. So they were able to get away with this. And I'd say even in the episodes themselves, they do well. The only thing is that it could get some new watchers lost, I'll say. Like if you're not very used to this type of format, you're not really gonna understand what's going on. So I'd say probably be prepared for that. There's not much to really say about the writing. I do want to say that the show does feel a bit more geared for the players of the Clash games, as they reference the games quite often. So I can see people who are not familiar with the game, they may be a little confused. But hey, if you enjoyed the clips I shared earlier, then you might actually enjoy it. Which really is all that matters at the end of the day.
Rooting for the blue team. Before you answer, let's show our audience this.
That is a birthmark!
Oh my God, bro.
Luckily, due to the success of the first season, it makes sense to get a second. Although the first half of the second season is in the same cloth as the first, with stories about villagers changing roles with the troops, a hog rider going on a journey just to end up in the hated world, and even them making a parody of the existence of an endgame meta.
There will be a 5% decrease in speed for the bandit.
Wait, no! It can't be!
Did that seem slower to you? Like maybe 5%?
But by the time we get to the second half, there's a bit of a switch structurally. The episode length changes from 11 to 12 minutes. The episodes writing are a bit more focused on specific stories instead of little stories they build upon in each episode. And this all started with an episode about the clone spell, on how a clone troop stayed around and grew a relationship with an executioner. For an overall story, I think it does it well. And the older comedy has never really gotten away, but instead was able to transition into this different format.
Brenna?
Oh, no, wait, what's she doing here? And she brought the bats?
I should have known this was going to be a waste of time.
For people who watched the earlier episodes, I think the newer format is hard to get used to, as it's just a big switch, but I don't think it really affects my enjoyment since the writing was able to transition well, and I think the writing was able to do just as well as the comedy this time around. But I didn't think it fit the show as much as I thought it would, but even then, there's still some good episodes of this format, like the Executioner clone episodes I brought up, as well as the episode about the Archer trade. They're done pretty good and shows that there is definitely potential for this show. And if it became serialized, it definitely has a chance to be a pretty damn good show. But unfortunately, afterwards there's not much new about the series after season 2. And if anything, we don't know if we're ever going to get anything new from it at all.
I bleed creativity. Also, election.
Now, the actual series itself actually stopped making long-form episodes in 2019, but they still continued with shorts. The show has not been as forgotten, as we still get some Clash-A-Rama shorts here and there, and we even got a recent season on Clash Royale, which was more Clash-A-Rama centric with its own animation and even banners. There's not much to say with the future of the show, as the team pretty much moved on from Clash-A-Rama, and it's very unlikely we'll ever get a season 3 anytime soon, especially with the state of Clash, especially Clash Royale. I do wish the team that worked on the show could move on to more projects and are doing overall well.
I hate edit mode.
Alright, I think I should give a small announcement of the channel because I have not uploaded for a very long while. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I didn't do much for the entire time, because I've been somewhat having ideas and even made some scripts on these. Some of these could end up being videos in the future, but The problem is I do not have much of the drive to make them into videos, especially since I'm not the biggest fan of editing. And the other reason is that I don't know what else I could really add to the Talking Tom and Friends franchise. I've already reviewed everything about the show, and I don't know much I could really do with it. But it's not that I don't have anything planned though, as I am currently making a huge video on it that you'll see in the 10th anniversary. More details about that will be coming out soon, but all I'm really saying is that I can't really just rely on this. I can't rely on this show. But that does not mean I'm gonna call quits though, because I am currently making a big ranking. Not for something like Talking Tom and Friends related. And I know someone's gonna bring up the game ranking that I was planning. Yeah, I've stopped doing that video now. There's no reason for me to do it. I do have some footage on it, but it's not really gonna come out because, well, it's mostly because the games do not have much to say about for the most part, with like very few exceptions. So I'm not really gonna do much on it. And speaking of the channel itself, get prepared for a rebrand because the current channel itself is not going to stay the same anymore. You'll still have all the videos, but it's going to be in a different alias and different persona. So you'll see more about what it will be on the next video, on a new ranking, on something new. That aside, I hope you have a good day and all, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you next time.